What is up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to continue our lake breakdown series for Lake Limestone in Texas. We already went through one Google Earth video, so if you missed it, don't worry, just click the link up above. That'll take you back to the first video. Tonight, we're gonna go ahead and finish it up on the Google Earth side. This one's gonna take us a little bit longer than usual, a little bit over 30 minutes, but we'll have the whole entire lake done by the time we get it finished, so might as well go ahead and knock it out. Let's go. I got some good stuff to share with you. Bye. Let's go ahead and jump back in here to Lake Limestone and hopefully finish off this Google Earth portion before we move over to the offshore side. If you remember last time, we actually finished right up here, so just south of this highway. Let's see what highway this is. That's actually Farm Road 3371. So we were finished just south of there, right off of this point. So that's where we're gonna start off tonight. If you missed the first video, let's jump over real quick and show you how we have this thing broken down. So first off, we've got channels and ditches. So those are gonna be all these little tracks that you see, these lines. These lines are actually the channels that we're able to see by using Google Earth. So in this image, we've got it drawn down to 2014, and you can see that we can see exactly where that channel is. Man, that looks like a juicy dock. But you can see exactly where that channel is, allows you to position your boat, stuff like that. So very, very beneficial while you're out there. Next up, we've got different types of cover. So we've got fences, ponds, humps, dams, saddles, things I just wanted you to check because I wasn't even sure what it was. So just all kinds of good stuff out there as well. And then we've got the offshore side. Now the offshore side, we have to change the date up for Google Earth for the date that we actually imported them in. So it's gonna take a minute here while it adjusts. But then we're gonna be able to see all the different offshore spots that we've marked for you guys on this lake. And that's actually gonna be the next video when we come back. We're gonna use the Navionics mobile app to show you why we think those are high percentage areas for offshore fishing. Then we've also got ramps and slabs, lots of different ramps, private ramps and slabs and things like that you can look at. If you were on that boat ramp pattern, you got quite a few boat ramps to run on this one. Then we've got rock. There's not a ton of rock on this lake, but some shallow rock and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of stuff that we found offshore, a little bit off the shoreline, but nothing too crazy from a rock standpoint. And then last but not least, we have the Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors that they put out there, and you can see those all down here. We talked about those on the first video. So I'm gonna go ahead and select everything back here. I'm gonna take the offshore stuff off. We're gonna move this date up to 2014 because that's really gonna give us the best. Let's make sure it's 2014 and not 2012 because it changes on me sometimes. But typically, where we ended at last time was right here where this slab is. And right here, you can't see it very well, so that's not gonna be as good. But if we go to 2012, now we can really see it. So that's where we're gonna start at. I'm gonna go up here to my view and I'm gonna take this sidebar off so we can have the whole screen here. And let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So if I went too fast for you there, I'm right here. So south of 3371, right here off this point, we're gonna work our way up the east side, and then we're gonna work our way back down the west side. So when we ended here last time, we talked about this boat ramp here. That thing looks really, really good. I don't know if we talked about it or if it's even an offshore spot, but something you may want to come look at is right out here. Now, sometimes Google Earth will kind of trick me and it'll look, like if you're looking right here, this looks like brush or timber or something that's under the water there. But I don't want to mark it because I can't really verify it. And there was a spot on Cedar Creek that got me that looked just like this, and there was absolutely nothing there. So I'm a little bit scared to mark these things, but I would definitely come out here and scan around right in here and just see. Clearly you have a little bit of a hump or a point that comes out. It's looking a little bit shallower. I like the way it sets up. It's got a stump right there as well. So just some good stuff there that you may want to take a look at. It's not marked, but if you're watching the video, you'll know to go out there and take a look at that. All right, so let's keep moving up. And as we move up this shoreline, there wasn't too much really, up here for me to mark for you, but there is a pretty good little creek channel back here. We just talked about this when I was telling you about the creek channels. But this creek comes through here. You got lots of different ways that it splits off. back in here. I think you got a couple different creeks coming through here or something. But anyways, the main creek is right here is what it looks like. This is your main channel. And when you're looking at these main channels, you know, these swings are going to be really good. So anywhere you can get on these corners, those are going to be good. But that dock, as I mentioned in the video in the beginning, that dock looks awesome because of where it's setting up on the creek channel. So the creek channel comes through here, it makes that swing, and it hits that dock. So that dock is definitely going to be a primo dock to go take a look at. As you move up here, you just got some more slabs, just some personal boat ramps, and you've got some laydowns that are out here too. Looks like somebody put some kind of a brush pile or something right there in that area. Now, as we talked about in the first video, you're gonna have to be careful on this lake because as I'm looking at this in Google Earth, I'm seeing all kinds of stumps and things like that. So be very careful. I'm not aware of any boat lanes that they've made for Lake Limestone, but if I ever hear about them, I'll make sure to post it out there and let you guys know. So let's go through here. We've also got another creek bed coming back here. This one's a little bit off the beaten path. This could be a good little area to go find them, especially when they're chasing that shad and stuff like that. That could be a good little area to go look at. And then I'm going to move back up here, kind of show you where I'm at. So we came out of that pocket. Now we're going to come up here. We're going to go up this little long branch that's right in here. But as we come up here, finally get into an area where we start to see some stuff, right? We don't see much on these shorelines here. But as we get in here, we see a little bit. So let's just zoom in here. Let's show you what we see. So right in here, we've got obviously shallow riprap or rock, probably just protecting this area that's right in here. You've also got some tires that are in here. You can see them. There's some out here too, kind of scattered all in this little area right in here. Now you're probably like, man, this is really obvious. Of course, if I move this up though to 2020, you're going to see that it looks completely different. That rock is, you can't really tell it's there. The tires, they're way out here in the middle of the water. So this stuff that we're showing you is definitely going to be an advantage for you. You've also got some ramps that are here as well. Some more ramps over there, more ramps. And then up here, you've just got some laydowns, probably set up from this fishing pier. They probably got all of this stuff in here, but here's a fishing pier. They're probably casting out to here. There's a big laydown over there, and there's a giant laydown right in there as well. Then you got another ramp, and then it kind of clears out. You don't really see too much. There's a little bit of a creek coming back here, but not much of a channel really to mark for you guys or anything special there. So I didn't really put anything there. There's a couple more slabs that are there, but nothing too crazy. And then as we get way back up in here, here's your main channels. So you've got your creek that comes down through here, and then it kind of gets crazy and splits off into kind of two different little creek channels. But I went ahead and marked them both for you. This one on the left doesn't look as good as the one on the right. The one on the right looks pretty healthy. So I'm sure you could go back in there and get in that creek channel and have some fun. But again, look at all this timber. You're gonna have to be super careful back here. But man, it's just loaded with timber. But if you can get back in there, a pretty good creek channel back there, then you've also got a pretty good little ditch that comes back right in here. And they love to set up in these types of things. There's a place on Fork that looks just like this. It was either Fork or maybe it was actually Lake of the Pines. But it was just like this. You had you had a big flat back here, and you had a creek channel that comes back there. It didn't have as much timber, but it had a ditch that was like in front of this big flat that was just like this. And we were out there fishing, and everybody would just zoom right past and go fish the obvious. And we were out here fishing this ditch and just having a really good time catching fish right in front of everybody that was zooming right past us. So pay attention to these ditches. They can actually come in handy sometime. There's another ditch that's back in here. This could have been an old pond possibly or something, or maybe it's just dug out for some reason. But you can see we've got a pretty good little ditch going on right in here. And this looks cleaner. Almost looks like a little bit clearer water, so that could be a good little spot to go check out. All right, so let's come back down here. Let's get around this little point right here. And as we come around the point, that's where we start to see a little bit more stuff in here. We've got a brush pile that's over here that's pretty obvious. Let me move this over for it and show you how big this thing is. Pretty big brush pile right there. All right, then we've also got a slab that's over here as well. We've got some more potential brush piles here. I couldn't tell if that's what those are, but they look like potential brush piles. So if you're over here fishing this fence line, which those things are money, look over here, scan over here, and look right in here and see if that's a brush pile too. If it is, then come over here to the other side of the dock and scan right here, because now you've got two brush piles plus the fence line and another brush pile there. So you got some pretty good stuff going on right here in this little pocket. You'll know where you're at because you'll see this nice house here with this big old pool. All right, so let's keep moving on down. And let's go down. We got another little creek channel coming through here. Nothing too crazy there. I don't know if I'd spend too much time there, but it's definitely going to be a seasonal thing. You got a little island that's out here. We may talk about that from an offshore standpoint, but I didn't see too much around it. You know, there's not a lot of rock or anything like that. The only spot that I see that could have some potential here that we actually did not mark again is going to be right here. So if we look right here where all of this growth is, if that stuff is still there, those fish will set up around that stuff. They love that type of cover. That could be those old willow bushes too, though, so it could just be a flipping thing. But it's definitely something you want to go check out and just do some exploring, especially how it's kind of in that little saddle area between the island and the bank line there. So go check that out. That looks like it could have some potential. We're going to move on down. We're going to look right here behind this dock. We've got some rock, not a lot of rock, but we've got rock along this seawall. So you can see it all right in here. There's not a ton of it. It kind of starts right in here and ends about right in here. But the rock around the seawalls is always a great place to go find fish as well. We're going to come up here. We're going to get out of Sanders Creek. We're going to come up here, come around the main point. We're going to start heading north again. Again, another good little creek channel coming through here. These could be good. This could be good flipping opportunities too with all of these bushes in here and all this growth. You get up in here and you just flip a jig around into these bushes and you can be surprised at what you can catch there. There's also pretty decent little points out here too. I'm sure we'll talk about those from the offshore spot stuff. So let's go ahead and move up. Let's get up here. Now we're close to 3371. Up in here, nice little pond. So fishing around those little pond dams right in here and then even getting up in here during spawn and see if that's a clear area. That can be good. Let's move this up to 2020. And you can see when the water's at full pool, you can't really tell that was a pond that was there. So you'll definitely want to go explore that and see what you can find. Let's draw it back to 2019. You can tell now in 2019, but in 2020 you definitely couldn't. We're going to draw that back to 2012 though, because we want to get a really clear image here. Now as we come over here, this looks interesting. We've got this creek channel that comes through here. And as you look at it as it comes down through this area right in here, it sets up well because it's coming right through these trees, and these trees just kind of follow it. So this would be a good area to go maybe do some jerkbaiting, you know, flipping around the trees as well with some jigs and things like that. Some worms. This could be a good area to go explore. I like how those trees set up. I like that creek channel. There's not a ton of cover in this area, so they're definitely going to attract to those areas, and that's going to be a good spot to go look at. Let's go on up here as we get past this bridge. Obviously the bridge is going to be good. We got riprap on all sides of the bridge, so that looks pretty healthy. You've got some slabs that are over here, some boat ramps. So again, if you're on that boat ramp pattern, that could be good. And then you got a fence line that comes out here too. These fence lines can be good. Usually the fish will set up, the bigger ones will set up on the very outside post, but you can work those fence lines and sometimes get in some pretty good stuff. You got to be careful though around your boat because it'll definitely do some crazy damage to your fiberglass if you get too close to it. All right, so moving up here, we've got these creek channels that come down. You can see them all here. I've got them marked for you guys. Again, this may be pretty hairy getting back up in here, but if you can get up in here, there's a pond up here too. If you can get up in here, it looks like you've got a pretty good little channel to go fish around. And then this red thing that I have here, this is like I don't know what this is. It's like an extra ditch that's here or an old roadbed or something, but it's almost like a perfect line and it goes right to this area and just splits through there. So you could go explore that and just see if there's anything relating to that, but I think the majority of them are going to relate to this creek channel that's over here. So let's move down. We're now at the very top, right? We've got a creek channel swimming up here too. I didn't show you guys. If you are fishing way up in here, you can get up in here as well. The creek kind of blows out over here and comes over to this little side creek. And as you get over here, it kind of has a little creek channel swing that comes off right in here. This is probably more of a kayaking area or something like that, but definitely an area to explore. You may be able to get a bass boat up in there. I'm not sure. Moving on down, we go to this first point. We've got another slab that's up here as well. When we get out here around these docks, of course, look at all this timber, so you're going to have to be super careful. But we've got some laydowns that are out here as well. And then moving down, just again, laydowns around those docks. I'll zoom in here real quick and show it to you. You can see it right there. Then we're going to go down here. I don't see too much coming down these bank lines. Again, we're not talking offshore. We're just talking what we can find from Google Earth. There was this spot right here. I don't know what this area is. Some kind of power facility or something like that. But when you get outside the area right in here, there's this stuff, and I don't know what this is, but I wanted you to check it because it could be something pretty good. Like if I move the water up to 2014, it's totally covered up. So whatever it is, 2020, it's way out there. Whatever it is, it looks pretty good. So definitely go check that out. I just didn't know what it was. If it's laydowns, if it's brush, I can't tell what it is, but it's something, and I would definitely go look at it. Then we're going to move down here. We're just north of 3371. When we get in here, we got another one of those little ditches. Those things can be very interesting. Another one of those fences, some laydowns. Then we're going to get up here around these docks. And anytime you get around these docks, it always gets interesting. These get even more interesting because if you look over here to this side of the docks, there's all kinds of root systems and stumps like that. So you may want to check this out. But if you look right here to the right of this dock, there definitely looks like a pretty good brush pile right here. There's some more debris here. This could be another brush pile too. So these docks are going to be interesting because you don't want to fish up, up towards the seawall. I have a hard time talking there. You want to stay out from the seawall, almost stay even with the docks. That's where your cover is. All right, so let's keep moving down. We've got some slabs there, some more riprap. Obviously all that riprap we talked about. We got more slabs and more ramps. There's a county park number 2, an actual main boat ramp there. Another private slab that's right there as well. Come across these docks, I didn't see too much in here other than just these slabs. There's no rock or anything like that, no laydowns, no brush piles that I found in that group of them. But as you come over here and you get off the point, there is a little bit of rock over here off this point. If we zoom in, see it's basically where the seawall ends. There's some really good rock right here. So you could go check that out. That could be a pretty good spot to go throw a little square bill, shaky head, something like that. You got a little bit more of that over here too. So it kind of ends there at the tip of that point, and then it comes back over here on this side. It's just little bitty stretches of it with some more rock right in there too. Then we're going to move down. We've got slabs. We got another creek channel that's back here too. This looks interesting. Again, be super careful. Look at all this timber that's back here. This looks really, really hairy. I imagine they just follow the creek channel out because that looks like the safest way to get in there. But you do have some docks that are getting really close to creek channel swings right in here. That looks pretty good. And then of course out in here around these bends could be good as well. So something to definitely go explore. You've got some fences over here. So a good little fence line that comes through here. Coming around the point, let me back out and kind of show you where I'm at. So Dooley Creek. So I'm moving my way down now. As I move into over here, just some shallow rock to take a look at. You got some really shallow rock right here along this seawall. Again, seawalls and rock, that's a good combination. Stuff you want to look at. Finally, we get into something where it looks like we have a pretty healthy looking little rock pile here. Little offshore rock pile. It's probably a community place, but if not, it probably will be now because that looks like a really good rock pile. Move it up to 2014. You don't really realize that's there. Obviously, it'll probably be a good prop buster if you were over there scanning around, didn't realize that came up and that was a ton of rock. But man, that looks like a really good spot to go look at. Probably one of the best spots we've looked at so far. I mean, just looks like a really good rock pile right off of a main lake point. Can't beat it. So we also have another point that's over here. This one doesn't have all the rock, but it does have some pretty good timber around it. So pretty good little point that comes out with a nice little hump there, a nice little saddle, and then really good cover all around it. You've got another ditch that's back here too, my little pond. I don't know how easily accessible this is going to be, but you definitely have a little ditch there you could go check out. Then we're going to zoom around. We're going to come back out here. We're more main lake now, getting more main lake as we can. But as we come back in here, there's a really good pond dam that's back here. Check out this pond dam. The thing has got all kinds of good looking cover around it, all kinds of juiciness. If we move this up to 2014, there it almost looks like it's choked out. Let's see if 2019, oh, wow, 2019 is bad. 2020, and then now 2020. So I can't tell if you can get back there or not. So maybe you can't get back there. Maybe it's too shallow to get back there. But you can definitely get back here and fish around this stuff. And then just see what can happen there. I mean, look how clear that water is there. Anyways, I'm all stuck on this pond. I love ponds if you can't tell. So let's keep moving on down. See what else we can find. We've got more slabs. We got another ditch that's right in here that looks pretty interesting. And then here we've got rock that's along this seawall. So it's right here. It's almost looks like the seawall got busted up. It was a seawall at one time and now it's not, but some pretty good rock out here behind this dock. This dock is somewhat isolated too, right here off of this this little rounded point. So it might be a good little area to go look at. Some more slabs that are in here, more rock that's over here off the edge of this point, kind of starts right in here and goes all the way around. So if you're on that shallow rock pattern, this is going to be a really good one to stop and check out. More laydowns here. You can see we marked them for you. Obviously, we didn't mark every laydown on this lake because there's a ton of them, but we marked all the big, obvious ones that we think would be really good to fish around. Some real good rock here too around this point. So again, if you're on that shallow rocky pattern, you've got some opportunities here. You've got one on this point, one right here, and one right here. So it's 3 good little areas. You know, if you're tournament fishing and you're on that type of pattern, that can be a really good spot to start at. Plus you have that main lake rock point that was just up there that we went past. I don't even remember where it was. I think it was up in here, but you have that. So if you're on that rock, that's 4 spots on the same side of the lake. That would just be a great little pattern to run. So let's move down here. Pretty much what we're gonna see here is just slabs. I'm gonna zoom into the rocky areas for you so don't make you too dizzy. But the slabs are basically just obvious. They're just personal little boat ramps. But again, that is a great pattern to run certain times of the year. So if you can get on it, man, you'll have plenty of them to run here. But let's look here at these rocky areas. So here again, we've got the rock that's around this seawall. And then we're gonna move down. There was some more rock in here. This is just rock around those seawalls. Again though, can be great patterns to run, especially in the springtime. And then we're gonna move down here. We just got more slabs. There's a little bit of rock here. Let's zoom in here and take a look at this one. Not as much there, definitely shallow rock, but could come into play, especially depending on how deep the lake is. Lots of rock around the edge of this point. The whole thing is just lined with riprap. So basically you can fish that whole area if that that shallow rock seawall thing was the deal. Moving up here, lots of slabs, and only really one area where I found some rock, and that was right here behind this red dock. If I zoom in here, it almost looks like lava rock or something. It's a darker rock for sure, but right in here, right behind that dock, that was the best place I could find. The rest of it just looked like a ton of slabs. And then we're gonna move up here. We're gonna get back here into the back of this little creek that's back here. And this thing looks pretty interesting. You got a nice little creek channel that comes back through here. Good little area right in here that you could fish. You got some pretty good swings going on, so you could check out the swings. I would definitely look at this dock right here because it's really close to that creek channel swing. Maybe go in here and maybe look at this little swing too, right in this area. See what you can find here. You got some stumps, some root systems, maybe some wash up or something, whatever that white stuff is. So maybe just looking in here on these bins and seeing if you can find anything in there. You got some slabs there. And then I've had a check over here because I don't know what this is. It looks like a debris pile or a brush pile or something, but that could come into play too. So go look at that. That's kind of out there a little bit a ways from the shoreline. Let's move that up to 2014. You can see you're gonna miss it if you're just banging the shoreline. It's a little bit further out for you, but something to go explore. I love looking at stuff like that, especially when I get out there with down sand, side scan, and then I realize there's fish on it. I get all excited. But here we go. Let's keep moving down. We got slabs here. We've also got a pretty decent little point that comes out. So I just wanted you to check that. But on top of that point, it looks like you may have something hard there. Like you can see that little white speck that's there. So I wanted you to check that out and just see. It might not be anything at all, but wanted you to check that out. You've also got some pretty good little ditches that are coming back from here. Don't know what this is, but they're creating 2 little ditches in here. And then moving down here, we just get into basically boat ramp city. So tons of slabs that are down here. But the main things I wanted to point out to you really are these brush piles that are in here. So one's gonna be right here. And that one looks pretty good. Let me move that over so you can see it even better. That's a giant lay down, maybe brush pile, something. There's definitely something there. And then we've also got that other one that's right over here. And again, it looks just like a big pile of it. That's all piled together. So both of those areas could be pretty good areas. And then we move around here and we get off this point. Of course, all kinds of timber and trouble and stuff like that. And you know, this is basically your standing timber, but if you get over here, you actually find a big old brush pile that's right over here. You can see it right here. So those are great places. If you're on that brush pile thing, again, now you got 3 brush piles in one little area. Be a good place to start for a tournament as well. So lots of options on this lake for sure. Let's go down. Looks like we're going to be able to finish this thing up. Let's go down and see what else we can find. We got a nice little hump that's out here. Now this one, you're going to be like, oh man, look at all that rock, but that's not rock. Unfortunately, those are probably birds. But it does look like this may have a little bit of a hard spot on top of it, like right in here. If I zoom in really close, maybe like right in this area, that could be a hard spot possibly. It could also be nothing, but it's something I would go out and scan around and do some exploring on, because those main lake humps like that, and really you got a little saddle area there too, but this could be a good area from an offshore standpoint. You got a creek channel that's coming back in there. You got all kinds of slabs. So we'll skip the slabs so we don't bore you here, but let's just zoom into the rocky areas and show you what we found from the rocks. So this rock here is going to be shallow water rock that's up against that seawall. We talked about that. Same thing here. Same thing right here as well. So we're just really marking those shallow water seawalls with that rock. We talked about, we didn't talk about that, but a lot of slabs back in there. But again, just nothing crazy back in here, that really caught my attention that said, hey, go fish this. But one thing I will point out here is notice all of these docks. These docks will change the pattern of the fish. So don't get so hung up on, especially if you're fishing around these areas where there's just tons of docks, don't get so hung up on the pattern of they're going to migrate to the points and then they're going to go back to the back. And you're thinking they're going to move up and down this little pocket here, and they really won't. They'll just stay on their docks and just do their normal stuff. The pattern they'll actually run is basically from the front of the dock to from the outside of the dock to here, and then outside of the dock to here. So they'll just stay around those docks. So docks are going to be a big player on this lake. I haven't talked about it much, but they're going to be a big player, especially in this area. So stuff you're going to want to have to do some scanning, and you're going to have to just go and fish the docks and figure out which ones of them are the best. The best thing to do on that for me, from what I found, is I just get up there, I get really close to the docks, I set my side scan on about 80 feet, and then I just go and scan every one of those docks, and then I mark any docks where I see fish or where I see brush piles, and then I come back and I only fish those docks. So it's something to think about if you're fishing on this side of the lake a lot. All right, so let's keep moving over here. Some more things I wanted you to check here. This looks like a potential old pond. See this dark area right in here? And that looks like the pond dam where it opens up right there. Now that, I could be totally off. I could be misreading this completely. That's why I put check there. I wanted you guys to go check that. It's the same thing over here too. It looks like another pond that was right here and a pond dam. If these are little pond dams, these can be secret little places come summertime. So at least just go look at them. Again, there may not be anything there at all, but worth going and looking at. Shallow rock right in here. Some more slabs that are right in here as well. Then you got some more rock right here off this seawall. So that seawall and that rock thing, if it was going on, you got quite a bit of it. It's in little pockets here and there, but if you just followed the rock basically on this breakdown, it would take you to all of those rocky places. There's only been a few places where we had rock that was more offshore, but some more rock right in here too. Lots of ramps that we've been talking about. Now we're down here close to the dam, almost done. We're going to come right here off this main lake kind of point that's out here. And again, we just got a lot of that rock around the seawalls. We've got a little patch here again, good patch running right there, and then another patch right in there. Then we're going to move up, see what else we can find in here. We got lots of slabs and stuff like that. We do have a little bit of brush though. So we move up here, we got another brush pile. That one looks pretty healthy. More slabs as we look in here. There is a brush pile back in here too, so I'll zoom right in here and show you this one. Again, this one freaks me out a little bit because it's kind of like that Cedar Creek thing. This is kind of what it looked like on Cedar Creek. I was like, oh, massive brush pile, lots of laydowns, super juicy. Let me go look at it. I went over there and I got there and there was nothing there, like literally nothing there. So check this out. Hopefully there's some brush there. That looks like some pretty good laydowns. We're going to move up here. We've got more slabs. We're going to move on a little bit further up back into this pocket. Just more slabs up in here. There is a little bit of rock back in here. So if you're really desperate, you can get way back in here and fish this rock. I don't even know if that would come into play. This looks like a pretty rough area to get back into, but as long as you can get up in here, there's some stuff back in here. We've got some slabs that are back in here as well. And then as we get over here, just the main creek channel that comes back through here, and it kind of runs back here to this campground too. It could be good down here around these bridges and stuff like this, or maybe even fishing up in that ramp. But then again, you got this little creek channel that comes through here too, and it kind of meets right here. So maybe looking at that intersection there too could be a potential. I don't see anything back here that's really getting me too excited though, so I'm not going to lie with you. Let's keep moving up here. Let's see what else we can find. We got another good boat ramp here. Lots of laydowns out there. Nice little ditch right there too that I kind of missed. We got some debris that's out here outside of this fishing pier. So if you get outside this fishing pier, obviously you got to be super careful. Look at all the laydowns. But there's something going on right in here. Let me move this for you. You can see it right there. There's a giant pile. There also could be a big rock pile or something like that right over here to my left. So go check this out. Do some scanning around there and just see what you can find. I guarantee you're going to find something hanging out in that area. Then we're going to move down here. We've got more laydowns. Got laydowns all over this lake. We've got slabs. I wanted you to check this area right in here because I don't know what it is, but it looks like a giant laydown or a pipe or something. But something to check out, some good debris that they could hang around. All kinds of laydowns out here outside these docks. These people probably put these here from a fishing standpoint, so that could be really good. And I say laydowns, those could be brush piles too. It's just hard to tell from a Google Earth standpoint what exactly they are. Then we're going to move down. We've got more slabs coming down through here, and we're almost done. We're going to look at this last little section. We get back in here into this little pocket that's back in here. Now this may be a little creek channel or something coming from this pond, possibly. I'm not sure. Kind of looks like a little creek that runs through there. But as you get through here, it looks like you've got some rock right here off the edge of this point. Very isolated, but definitely a good spot to go look at. Also over in here, another slab, and then some really good rock around the edges of these points. You can see them all here. Again, if you're on that shallow water rock pattern, you got some good stuff going on there. You got a main lake ramp right here by the Sterling Robertson Park. And then last but not least, when you get over here on the corner of the dam, you've got some shallow rock that's up here too. That could be interesting to go check out. And then that takes us back to where we started, which was actually just right over here, right by the beginning of the dam. So what we'll do on the next video now is we're going to come back and we're going to use Navionics mobile app to talk to you guys about all the different offshore hotspots on this lake, and then that will finish us up for Lake Limestone. Please make sure to go out and check out our sponsor, OmniaFishing.com, and don't forget to go out, check out SimplisticFishing.com. We've got all of these waypoints for you out there. We will send you the KML file so you'll be able to do your own breakdown on Google Earth, and we can put all these files on an SD card for you. You put them into your graph, it will change the way you fish. When you're out there, you'll know exactly where everything is on the lake. It is awesome. Go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.